So this dedication today is a great example of the many ways that the community and the industry show support for the Clore Center. What's super exciting about this project is it was completely community funded, and we are very grateful to be here today to receive it. We're very fortunate that here at the Clore Center we spend every day advancing our mission. We celebrate your work as growers and winemakers in the industry, and we promote your products. In a nutshell, we want everyone who visits or interacts with the Clore Center to leave a little bit more excited and a little bit more knowledgeable about Washington wine, agriculture, and history. We help people from all over the region and all over the world remember to choose Washington when selecting wine or when doing something like looking at a sticker on an apple. We thank you for your support in the past, we thank you for your support today, and in the future so that we can continue to share that message to choose Washington first. I encourage you to keep an eye on our activities here at the Clore Center, on our website, on our Facebook. If you'd like to get on our email list to know about our always ongoing activities, any of the staff can help you with that. And we also have a great wine club where you can get wines that we find from all over the state to release to our wine club. April would be happy to tell you about that. And keep in mind, of course, at the base of it all, the Clore Center Tasting Room is open 7 days a week. And we work really hard and love finding special wines to share with our visitors. There's a lot going on, and we have many exciting things planned for 2017, including installing our educational exhibits, which I hope many of you will return to help us celebrate in January. We'll be releasing that information soon, and I know you're going to want to know about it. But now back to today, which is a really exciting day. I want to invite Bob and Peggy Early to talk a little bit about the history of this project and how things got started. Bob?
Thank you, Abby. I'll go over a little bit of the history of this project. As many of you know, Walt was a long-time Rotarian, and when he passed away in 2003, the club wanted to do something to honor him. And they had some fundraisers, they had a couple of golf tournaments, and they raised around $6,000. At that point, I guess the board decided something in bronze would be nice. And Rotarian Clarence Rinker went down to Joseph Gordon and met Malcolm Finney, an artist, a painter, a sculptor. Clarence explained to him kind of what we were thinking. Malcolm made a clay bust of Walt that everybody thought was quite good. Of course, the Clore Center was still, this was in 2004, something like that. It was still in the talking stage. So once we found out how much bronze can cost, the project was kind of put on hold. And then in 2014, when the Clore Center was dedicated, I knew that $6,000 was still in the Rotary Treasury, and decided to go out and try to get pledges from businesses and organizations and individuals. And as more pledges came in, I called Malcolm and told him we should get started, which he did. And from there, we're about here. I don't know how many of you know, but I worked on the Walt experiment station for like 8 years. So I feel very close to Walt. In the fall, I would help George Carter make wine. And as a lot of you know, George was an elk hunter. He always had to go elk hunting during that time. He usually got lost, but he usually found his way back. But on the weekends, I would go down and punch down the red wines we had fermenting. And then, of course, during the week, the staff continued with the wine project. Between Walt and George and Chaz Nagel, who was just recently inducted to the Legends Hall of Fame, showed that wine grapes could be grown in this area with the proper handling. George and Chaz showed that good wine could be made from the grapes. And so from there, I don't know, Malcolm was working on the statute. Malcolm will explain some of the project, and so will Nancy.
Yep, so I'd like to introduce Malcolm Finney from the Finney Art Gallery in Joseph, Oregon.
Okay, so they wanted me to talk a little bit about the project. And like Bob was saying, it started with that bust. It was about life size. And it was Walter when he was in his 90s, lots of character, really liked it. But after that 10-year period, they made the decision that maybe it would be better to make him younger when he was at that point when he was doing his discovery and his research and his visionary work. And so I proceeded to focus on being younger. You know, another thing that came up is as the funds started coming in, they thought, well, maybe it would be better to go with a full figure instead of just a bust. So I made a little sculpture about from here to here, about that tall. And I brought it to them and I said, well, why don't we do it something like this? And they took photographs of it and everything. I got sent out to some family members and board members and that. And they liked it. And I said, okay, well, I'll continue then with a larger version so I can get all of his features and try to depict him as best I can. And so I made a 3-foot version of him. And I was really proud of that. And I brought it here for the people to look at. And Nancy had seen the smaller one, which I thought was a little bit sketchy still. And then she saw this other one I brought into her. The first thing she said was, why'd you change it? I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a long haul. But it's clay and it's malleable. So we spent about 3 hours that day with different people giving me their input. Marla was another one. Marla said, looking at the piece, said, well, I used to sit on his lap and he had the kindest eyes. And I'm going, oh no. How do you make kind eyes? But we went ahead and kept working on it. It kept giving me direction about different parts of his bone structure, which I wasn't picking up in the photographs. I had about 20 photographs to work on. And I thought I was getting it, but after getting their input, and then looking at the photographs again, and mulling it over, I was able to pick things out that I wasn't able to pick out before, looking a little bit through their eyes. And so then we got it to that point. I was sending emails, and finally Nancy said, you nailed it. Okay, well that felt great. And then from there, I had to make it 8 foot tall. So that's a matter of making a styrofoam with clay on top and getting all that worked out. And then different members, Bob and Peg came, and oh, I just can't remember everyone, but Nancy came and looked it over and said, yeah, that's it. And so that's how the process went. Now from there, I've made the clay, and that was all the fun part. And then the foundry has to start turning it into bronze. And that's a whole other story. I would encourage any of you, if you're ever in Joseph, Oregon, to take a tour of the foundry and see how the bronze is made. It's quite a process. But before I give the mic up, I want to just say thank you all. Thanks for showing up. Thank you to the Clore Center, to the staff. Abby was terrific to work with. Bob and Peg and Bob's tenacity, raising this money. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. And also to my wife, who I couldn't make a thing without her.
A small part of the process that Malcolm didn't share is that part of the foundry process is that it's actually produced in sections that are then put together for the final product. And he sent us photos of the sections of Dr. Clore on a table, which was very interesting. And now I'd like to ask Nancy Dexter-Clore to talk. She got to be a part of every step of this project along the way, and I want to ask her to share some thoughts.
Thank you very much. I want you to know, and it was mentioned here today, that Clarence and the River Maker planted the seed. And I want you to acknowledge her when you get time. She's back there on the couch, along with my dad's friend Marilyn Knight, who helped him get around in his last years of life. So I want to again acknowledge Peggy and Bob Early, because they took the seed that Clarence planted and ran with it. They got donors of all kinds, and I want to thank all of you who had a part in that and just supporting us at the Clore Center is a part of it too. So I want to thank you all for that. And it was fun going with Bob and Peggy Early to Joseph, Oregon, to see Dad. When we walked in the door, here he was, 8 feet tall. And that was great to see him, and it was just like he was alive again in a lot of ways. So I think you will be pleased with this younger Walter Clore, who some of you may remember at that stage of his life. I chose that. The older person, Malcolm was given pictures by Clarence Rinker. I said, no, I want Dad to remember as he was when he was younger and in the prime of his experiments and working out at the research center. And so that's what you'll see. So I hope you're not disappointed, but we had a chance with Malcolm to say the eyes aren't right, the nose needs to be this way or this way, and he put up with all of us. But he excelled in the end. That's my dad. And I want to tell you, my sister here, Judy, is here. Judy Reed and her husband Bill and her family are here, as well as my grandkids, except for the ones back in Colorado. I have 5 of them here. So I want to thank everybody for coming and for sharing here at the Clore Center. And I hope you invite other people to come to the Clore Center and see the statue in the future. Thanks.
Part of the conversations about eyes and chins and hair was also a conversation about boots and shirts and gloves, and yeah, it got into all these things. We are going to get ready to step outside for the big reveal. I want to say just 2 thank yous before we do that. One is to Glenn Vestager of Vestager Brothers Construction. Glenn did the concrete work, and he showed up yesterday with a crane. And when you're moving something that big and that important and that valuable, it was a little scary, but Glenn made it smooth as silk. So we're very thankful that Glenn couldn't be here today, but was definitely here yesterday. So we appreciate that. I also want to thank St. Michelle Wine Estates and Columbia Crest for donating some Walter Clore Reserve to help us toast today. So as we transition outside, keep your glass or visit the tasting bar to grab a fresh glass, and we'll make sure you have a little to toast with. And I think we're ready. We have glasses at the front door, pardon me, so we are prepared for you. So let's step outside and get ready for the big reveal.
Hey, Michelle. Hi. Still filming.
That's a good way to go. Hi, Sue. Hi. How are you? Good.
Nice to see you. I saw you from a distance over there.
Parts and pieces.
That one really works. We're on. Okay, so before we do the big reveal, we have one last really big group of thank yous to make. Bob?
I want to thank all the donors, and I'm going to read a list of them. They're not out in alphabetical order, so. Patsy Mercer, Inland Desert Nursery, Jerry Smith and Tom Judkins, Lyle Farm Services, Prosser Rotary, of course, Tom and Linda Denchel Ford, and Tom is a Rotarian, Bob and Peggy Early, and I'm a Rotarian, Don and Linda Mercer, J.M. Smucker, Highland Family Dentistry, Dr. Grove's a Rotarian, Dave and Dorothy Evans, Fruit Smart, Wally and Lynn Hall, Monty Schaefer, William and Judy Reed, St. Michelle Wine Estates, Hogue Ranches, Dennis and Rochelle Pleasant, Shopco, Vine Tech, I'm sure a lot of you know Jack Miljard, Yakima Federal Savings and Loan, Ross Malore, who's also a Rotarian, Randy and Kathy Eggman, and Randy is a Rotarian, Northwest Farm Credit Services, Jim Honeyford, Welch, that was Tim Grove that set it up, Devon Clore Winery, Gordon Taylor, Bill and Andy Denhold, Saxton Realty, and that's Ben and Lisa Riley, and they're both Rotarians, and Lisa is president of Rotary this year. Paul Warden, who was a Rotarian, Mike Freeponds, and the Whitehead Foundation. When this project first got started, before we were even associated with the Clore Center, there was an article in the Prosser paper talking about the Rotary project, and I received 2 checks in the mail. One was from Lois Lyon, and the other was from a lady named Sandra Holden. Her husband's name was Chuck, and I want to read her letter. They live in Kelso, Washington. It starts out, hello, enclosed is a donation towards the bronze statue of Walt Clore. Now you have to realize this was back, well, I forget what the postmark, but this was back at the very beginning. This is donated on behalf of Chuck, who at one time lived in Prosser. He passed away August 3rd. His obituary was in the Prosser paper about August 6th. He knew Judy Clore well as they walked to high school each day. Walt Clore was a church mentor to Chuck's group. This would please Chuck a lot. And why I want to give this letter to Judy. I don't know if Judy knew.
Yes, that's my classmate.
Did you? I'm going to give you that letter. Got to get your address now. So at this time, at this time, Rotary and all the donors is pleased to dedicate and give the statue to the Clore Center.
Well, here's a toast to that. Thank you so much for everyone who contributed to this project and who are here with us today. This is a great example of what can happen when a group of people put their visions together and their dollars together to make something happen. We have lots of plans and programs as ways to do that here, and we're going to be working with all of you in the future in lots of different ways. And let's do a toast and reveal Dr. Clore. Cheers.
The eyes look very kind.